without further ado, let's get into our first topic, the PLL schedule release. Well, folks, it is here. The PLL is ready to start its new season, and while I'm not the biggest PLL fan, or even I'm the biggest field lacrosse fan for that matter. I think the PLL does a good job with what they're given, but I'm just not a fan of the slowest game in lacrosse. Like, they can call it the fastest game on 2 feet, probably referring to the box game, if we're being quite honest with ourselves. Field lacrosse, not a fan. But that doesn't mean other people are not fans, so we will definitely talk about it here on this show. So the PLL is going to the following 4 cities, aside from their regular scheduled programming of the 8 teams that they have. The places they're going to: Albany, New York, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Fairfield, Connecticut, and Louisville, Kentucky. Now, the first one that stands out to me as a fan of box lacrosse and a fan of the NLL is Albany, New York. Now, Albany, New York is, I believe, first or second on that list that they have, and it's also home of the Albany Firewolves. Now, granted, right now, the Albany, I believe right now it's hosting the women's tournaments, if I'm not mistaken, probably in the East region, whatever they're going to go by. It's part of March Madness right now. But as I will document it in articles and on this show, the Albany Firewolves don't have the greatest attendance. But we know Albany, just like Long Island, New York, rest in piss, is one of those lacrosse hotbeds. I'm very interested to see the numbers from this game, and I hope it works out for the PLL. But I would like to know how it's going, like if it's going to work out this year. I'd like to see if fans have bought into the new formats of their PLL home cities. I'd like to see how many fans from Albany show up to that game. Minneapolis, Minnesota, for the fans who were very vocal from the Midwest/central part of the country, who were not happy that Minneapolis did not have a team, much less the fact that there was nothing like outside the East or West Coast. So we respect those fans, and I want to see if they still show up. I'm assuming they will, but just a thought. Fairfield, Connecticut, I don't know much about it. Connecticut's small. I'm sure it's a lacrosse hotbed. Obviously, they're going there. But I honestly am not a fan of either Albany or Fairfield, because you already have Boston and you already have the New York Atlas. So why are you cramming in more Northeastern teams? Like, it's kind of like what the NLL does when it, shoots itself in the foot with the Northeast. Like, we're going, like the New York Riptide are going from Long Island to Ottawa. Sure, it's close enough for the players, but there's already a bunch of teams over there. Like, why not branch out? Why not expand? I know sometimes money is tight, but if you do this thing right, I'm of the mindset, take the plunge now and reap the rewards later. It's called an investment. Like, I feel like some of the NLL and the PLL will commit suicide for themselves because they try so hard to conserve money. And to me, going to a place like Fairfield and Albany, what are we doing? Like, why are we have to go to both those places when there's already 2 Northeast teams on top of that? Just a thought. The other one is that Louisville, Kentucky is the all-star game location once again. I would like to go to that game, not going to lie. I was invited last year by someone from the PLL, who's RJ Kaminsky, who's very vocal on social media. I would not mind going to that event. Apparently, they've had good turnout there before. I remember watching it last year briefly on TV, watching that fastest shot competition, and where that Jordan Newman guy or whatever his name is was, lighting up the scoreboard or lighting up the speedometer. I don't know if it's called, but obviously they like their turnouts. So I just want to see which of these markets succeed. I'm going to assume it's Minneapolis if you don't include the All-Star game, which is obviously Louisville, Kentucky. I'm going to assume it's Minneapolis. I want to see if Albany and Fairfield, I'm sure they'll have good turnouts because there's 2 home teams there. I just want to see how fans are going to adapt to this change, because obviously it was a very polarizing one going to PLL home cities. Well, there you go. The PLL schedule released those 4 cities plus the wherever else they go. And I believe Boston gets the championship. I'll make sure. I'll check that real quick here. I don't want to see a picture of a walking lion or video of that. Here we go. The quarterfinals are in Boston. I lied. Long Island has got the semifinals. And the Cash App Championship is Subaru Park in Philly.